Hey you guys. Now this might look like an Egee ASMR video, but it's not. This is a hobby video, and I have done a couple live videos like this, live, I get like with a camera, on the channel before, but nothing quite like this. This is taking a page straight out of the Egee ASMR channel, and I want to share with you in this video how I capture sounds. So a big part of the ASMR thing is, well, my ASMR thing is the way that I speak. So for this one, it is just a hobby video, I'm using my regular voice. But the way that I capture sounds could be used in either context, I guess. And I have my mixer over here, as well as I've got a big boy microphone. You can see my orange amplifier. So the first part of this video, once I'm done rambling the intro, I want to show you how I capture sounds with the Tascam, because I haven't used this very much. And there's a technique to it, but it can be as simple as putting the microphone right there and then making some sounds. And then another part of the video, I might want to try to capture some sounds with the microphones and the audio equipment, but the mics that I'm using right now are meant for music, and when you turn the gain up on the mixer, it brings a lot of noise with it, and it's not suitable for hi-fi like ASMR kind of stuff. So I don't know if I'm going to do that. I might talk about it, but what I want to do, and I want to do towards the end of the video, is mess around with microphone positioning, because I'm using the Tascam because it is a stereo microphone. When I tap on each side, you can hear it. And if you like ASMR, then you like it. This isn't meant to be an ASMR video. This is meant to demonstrate it in a way that's pleasant on your ears. Like, this is just nice. So it's a stereo microphone. It captures on both sides. And when you're capturing something like music, like I'm going to play guitar later on, moving the microphone around changes how it sounds. And when you're putting together performance or some sort of composition, like singing guitar or something, you want to make sure that the mic is in the right position, whether it's to your voice or to the speaker. So I want to play around with that, and that part of the video is just for me. This is going to be a bear to produce, I'll tell you what, because I'm using the Tascam, but I'm recording with my Sony video, so I'm going to have to find a way to synchronize the audio, maybe with some snaps. And then I've got a different audio setup, which is going to be buzzy. I'm going to have to notch it. And this video is the start of a series. This is my last ramble. This video is the start of a short series, how Egee edits his audio. Because that was a very popular topic that I asked last year in a supporter poll, and I couldn't cover it in an hour video. So I'm going to break it into a few different parts. I have no idea how long this is going to be. I'm going to try to keep it short, probably 30 minutes, I don't know. But yeah, so let's cut to no cuts. Try not to cut. This is like my weekly produced Egee video. I'm not going to cut. I'm just going to transition straight to the next chapter. And I want to talk about how you capture sounds with a microphone. I want to talk about, I don't want to focus on which microphone to use, because you can use any microphone, it doesn't matter. This is a Tascam portable microphone, so all of the recording is happening inside of this guy right here. There's no computers. This wire is my headphones, so that I can actually hear what these microphones hear, real time, no delay. So when I do this, I can hear it, just like you can hear it. If you are just listening to your microphone on your computer and you're not doing any production or editing, you can't hear yourself. So a big thing about capturing audio is if you're going to capture your voice or dynamics or anything, like I'm going to cover it and that changes how the sound is captured, you have to be comfortable with your voice, and not everybody is. So if you're using your voice, then you got to get used to it. And of course, you got to get used to whatever sounds you're working with too. I'm surprised that a lot of people don't like the sound of scratching and things like that. And I mean, if you don't, then it's difficult to produce that kind of stuff. So I guess this is a long-winded way of saying you have to enjoy what you're producing, what you're capturing. And that might be just part of my own personal philosophy. I don't want to try to work with sounds or something that I don't like to work with. So I got this as a little Christmas present. This is a not a 3D printed, but like a machine burned, etched thing on a piece of wood. But I think that it is balsa wood or some sort of hobby wood. I'm moving the microphone around to get to a better position. Maybe that's okay. Future Egee and his editing is this is a hobby, as they say. Okay. So I got this out not just to show you how cool it is, but I do want you to appreciate just how cool and thoughtful this is. I think wood sounds good. Wood has a very pleasant sound, and you can capture these sounds with any microphone. These Tascams and portable recorders are in a league of their own because, like I was saying, and I think I got sidetracked, all of the recording, encoding, all of that is happening on board this little device. So it's not the computer doing the work, like if you're recording with OBS, which I do sometimes, or Audacity is going to use your computer. This has nothing to do with that. Once you record on a portable recorder, take the SD card out, put it in your computer, and you have the raw audio that then you can edit. So it's a different process. I think that these portable recorders, you wind up with this is probably how you get the best fidelity, like the highest fidelity audio comes from these purpose-built things. But they have their limitations, of course. These are great if you want to go out and capture some nature sounds. You can set it down next to a stream and walk away. This particular device is more meant for audio recording. So like if we were in a coffee shop or something and you were there and I was here, there's a microphone for me and there's a microphone for you. And in editing, think of like a deposition or something. I mean, that's like on one end, or it could just be you want to record a coffee shop conversation. I don't know why. But you have, in editing, you'd have two tracks. One side would be the one person, the other side would be the other person, which would make it easier to edit, which is cool. Now, but where this piece of wood comes in is if you want to do something like ASMR or just get a sound effect, maybe you're working with a game and you want to get the sound of sounds dragging across a piece of wood, you have to think about where the ears are going to be and how the direction of those ears is going to pick up the sound. So in another video, I talked about how I think of the microphones like here and here is like lasers, and they diffuse the further they go out. Not only do they lose their strength, but they also like scatter. So when you're working with the microphone, it could be mono, it could be stereo like this one. You think about how the sound waves are bouncing off, and you can follow that. Move it over here to get some like vibrations of the wood, reverberations. But in terms of ASMR and like pleasant sounds, I think that a lot of the pleasantness comes from the depth. So it's not just like, I don't think a lot of people like that. It's the moving. You can hear it kind of move away and then it gets closer. The depth changes. You can't really tell where the sound is coming from, and then it moves away. So it's almost like your brain is constantly having to figure out where that sound is or where it's coming from. But it could be as simple as like tapping. And that's just like get close to the microphone and move it around. But there's a technique to it, and for ASMR triggers like that, I think that's where it's interesting and unique. Everybody has their own way of tapping or whatever. I think there's probably also an imagination piece to it, where some people can hear a sound like, what does that sound like? Maybe you could call it snow. I don't know. I don't think that way. I wish I could. And I'm kind of surprised that I can't come up with different ideas for sounds, but I just can't. And some people can. So I can't speak to that, getting sound effects for things that you want to sound like. I mean, this sounds very specific to me, but maybe to you, you could say, oh, that sounds like this obscure thing or this obscure thing. And that's a really cool skill to have. And that's great for building a soundscape. When building soundscapes, I have a whole collection of nature sounds that I've collected with this guy here. And I actually collected a really good one this morning of just like a hailstorm, like sleet fell from the sky on the roof and it was loud. And I ran upstairs with a Tascam and stuck it out the window and captured like 2 minutes of it. Where I'm going to use that, I don't know. I'll probably use it in some role play or something. But sometimes it's as easy as knowing the right time to capture a sound like that. Or going on location, that's fun too. But I think that is probably about it for the Tascam stuff. I'm going to switch to my hi-fi gear, my Studio XLR microphones, and I want to play around with capturing sounds with them, which is a little bit different, but still the same. But I also want to go to the guitar amplifier and mess around with capturing sounds from different angles and things from there. So let's cut to that. All right, and we're done with the Tascam. This guy's a portable recorder is what we were just using. Not using it anymore. So I have two microphones, two inputs. We have left and right. Right now, you're listening to me through the right channel, which is beta 58. I'll move the microphone around in just a second, but we're not using the left channel right now. That's a Shure SM57. We'll use that to mic up the amplifier, and that'll be like in the next section. But the reason why I'm talking about this is the old Tascam, which is really cool. It has two microphones, so this is stereo recording when you use a portable recorder like this one. It's probably like this is the standard for portable recorders, like Zoom has them like that too. So what I'm having to do here is, on my end, this is a single channel on the right side. So in my editor, I'll probably use Audacity or Kdenlive. I will make it so it's mono. So it'll sound the same, but you won't get the same depth that you could hear when I was moving this around the subject matter. So you can kind of see what I'm talking about. We bring the old elk back, but I'll take the microphone and I'll move it like down here. You can kind of see, you're missing that depth. You don't hear it kind of like move around. It's just getting louder and quieter. So it's just kind of a different effect. This is a dynamic microphone. Again, I don't know what the heck the portable microphones are called. Like, they have a name. I guess linear PCM recorder is what it says on the bottom, but is it dynamic? It's not a condenser. I'm not exactly sure what it is. But the microphone that I'm using now and the microphone that I've used for pretty much my whole YouTube career has been dynamic microphones. And honestly, the reason for that is I record music. I started recording music. That's like the thing that I started out doing. And I'm just reusing my equipment. And it makes for a very unique audio setup that sounds good for ASMR. It sounds good for podcasting, I guess. There's a lot of editing that goes into any of my audios to make it sound good. I've streamlined it and I can do it pretty fast. And the next video in this series will be more about the editing process. But right now I'm kind of talking about the sound audio capture. So, I've said before, I don't typically recommend dynamic microphones for ASMR-like capture, even if it's like capturing just object sounds, not necessarily for an ASMR production, but just for background audio or something. The depth is part of it. It doesn't capture the depth quite right. But earlier I talked about the tip of the microphone being like a laser. So like, let's take the SM57 here. the tip of the microphone is like a laser, and with a dynamic microphone, it diffuses. It's even more precise, like it's even more picky about where it's pointing, and it diffuses even faster. So there's like a decay in fidelity the further you get away from it. So it has to be pretty close to the sound source. But these microphones are also susceptible to the proximity effect. And that's a problem I have with this microphone and my Behringer mics, is sometimes when I'm doing a role play performance, I get too close to the microphone. I'm not paying attention. I get really close to it, and it screws up the audio. But if you're too far away, then you lose a lot of the richness and the boldness that comes from using a dynamic microphone. Now, you don't usually use a dynamic microphone for this sort of thing. The appropriate application for a dynamic mic is fixed to an amplifier or other sound source. Could be drums, could be anything, but something where the audio is fixed, and I guess the microphone has to be fixed, right? So I think I know what I'm talking about, and I kind of know what I'm doing. Now that we've talked a little bit about capturing sounds with a dynamic microphone, I want to switch gears and talk about capturing audio, like music, and the way that I do it. So I'm not saying any of this is like the best practices or the best techniques or whatever, especially when it comes to miking up instruments. So there's different techniques, and like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just figuring all of this out, and you guys seem to like it. So let's do it. Let's do it together. I've wanted to know, I haven't used this mic. I haven't used this setup in a while. This is an orange amplifier. It is a black dark micro, orange micro dark. Yeah. Looks really cool. I definitely got it because it looks cool. This isn't the paired speaker for this little amplifier. This is a tube amp, by the way. I don't know if you can see inside of it. When we turn it on, it's got that cool blue light. And it takes a couple seconds for the tube to light up, but it lights up. It's right here. No, we'll give it a second. But the speaker that's supposed to come with this guy is black, just like this, and it looks super cool. Gives it a really heavy, grungy kind of feel. This is a little warm for my taste, to be quite honest. And I don't play on this setup too much. So what I want to do here is get a feel for the sound of this setup. I've built my own personal tone around a little effects rig using a Marshall MG15, which is behind me. I haven't used this in a while, so let's kind of see what it sounds like and play around with the mic positioning and see how it changes the dynamics of the audio. First thing I need to do is figure out where the level is. So it looks like we have everything at 12 o'clock, and the volume is actually quite low. Now you're hearing that out of the right side, which I have set to mono. So now I'm going to mix in this microphone, and I'll probably keep the bias on this to the left. Hopefully it'll sound cool. We'll give it a try. So let's do it. We'll turn this mic up. You can hear it buzz. That's the SM57. This thing just has a naughty buzz to it. I don't really know why. When I'm producing ASMR, sometimes the microphones, or maybe it's the cables, they pick up a little interference like that. And I use a notch filter to notch it out. But for this, I'm just going to leave it in. I think if I touch it, it goes away. Maybe not. I don't know. So right now, let's see how we have the mic set up here. I'd say that it's probably, 2.5 inches from 12 o'clock. So like right in the center, and 2.5 inches. And let's give it make sure it's not too loud. Blow OBS out. OBS has been having a bit of trouble picking stuff up for me. I don't know. Like it glitches when things get too loud. Hopefully it'll behave. Sounds good to me. Yeah, that sounds right. That sounds good. We need to come up with a bass line, so let me think of something to play. All right, let's just play some. I mean, it sounds good to me. I don't know. I remember my ears telling me this wasn't any good, but I'm using the bridge pickup. Everything is set to standard. So what we can do with the microphone here is play around with the distance mostly. Like I was saying about the microphone before, these types of microphones, if you get it too close, then it triggers a really nasty effect where it's like the sound is bouncing back. It's like almost reverberation. I'm not sure how to describe it, but it's unpleasant to listen to. So this is way too close. If I turned the gain on the microphone down, it might work, but I don't think, and this is my own theory here, I don't think that the sound waves coming from the cone of the speaker have spread enough for the microphone to capture like all of it. So it needs to be further away to get the richness from the speaker. But if it's too far away, then the what would it be? The mid-tones or the low tones are lost? Which ones travel further? I guess it'd be the high tones would be lost, wouldn't they? So this is probably 4.5 inches from the microphone. It's pretty far. It's probably still manageable. Let's see. Not so bad at all. Okay. Let's try it at a weird angle and see what that sounds like. Now, you're listening in... What happened? Okay. Now, you're listening in the video, so you have kind of like the stream of consciousness or whatever you're listening to is... You remember what you heard. Since I'm producing, I'm talking, thinking what I'm going to say, and also playing. I think that kind of wipes away my audio memory, so I don't quite remember what those last two takes sounded like. So I guess for future Egee, it'll be interesting for my own interest to listen to it and see what happens, see what it sounds like. But let's move this a bit further away because I can kind of turn it at an angle. So this is going to be far away and kind of at a weird angle. There. It's still, I think that'll be fine. That's pretty far. It's at least 5 inches. It seems to sound good no matter how I position it, but the thing is, my ears really like rock music, and it's, you know, when you play the right melodies and intervals, it always sounds good. And that's the secret to my guitar playing, is it's very melodic. It uses the same tried and true rockin' intervals. I can hear the distance in this one. So actually, that's a unique one because it goes up like that. So we'll play it like. And now let's move it closer, like so. I hear it, but I don't know how to describe what it does to the sound. I think I might like it further away, like this far. The extreme, when it was really far, it was a little bit too far. And I also know that I like to turn up the shape just a little bit, not too much. And I also, oh yeah, hear that buzz? I like a little gain. I like a little buzz. Who doesn't? Who doesn't like to feel rowdy from time to time? But I think that concludes this little rock session. It turned into a bit of a jam session, but that's not so surprising for me. You're just like that. So yeah, we talked about the Tascam and these portable microphones, and hopefully you know a little bit more now about if you're interested in capturing sounds. It's fun. I love audio. And these guys are like $50, I think. They might be a bit more, but it's a really high quality tool and it scales. Like I think that even super ultra professional audio engineers and producers would say that these little Tascams are really good for what they do. So, I mean, you can get started just capturing audio as an enthusiast for pretty easy and pretty cheap. You don't need this crazy dynamic setup like what I have with this crazy gooseneck mount that won't stay up. Is it going to fall? Okay, cool. Right on. I think we're done. So this is video 1 in the series, and this is where I show you, like video-wise, how to capture sounds. The next one, I'm going to show you how to edit them, and I don't know if I'm going to include how to edit videos. I might, but I'm definitely going to show you how I edit my audio, and it's way simpler than you might expect. So stay tuned for that. Cool. Yeah, so I guess that's where I'm going to wrap it up. If you like the content, you like what you saw here in this video and whatever, and yeah, I think that's probably it. So I will see you guys when I see you guys, and until then, see you later.